Drinking some water. Okay. Hello. Willkommen, meine Freunde. And today, people, we are, succumbing to Rust, right? We're gonna actually, to be fair, we are just making a simple rewrite in Rust today. I just want to learn a little bit more about Rust. I have had some experience in the past with Rust. Pretty much, I forgot everything, so now I need to just remember it a bit. And for the sake of, learning something new, I just saw that I did not learn it really well, simply due to I just practiced with some kata solutions and some simple things that I made in the past for the sake of just making it, right? So today, we're gonna actually make something with Rust so that I can probably learn something with it, and I'll just see how it goes, right? It's not gonna be something that I will, take it further for. It's just a joke. But we know, right, that people are trying to just rewrite everything in Rust anyway. Ha ha ha, jokes, right? Let's just rewrite something in Rust ourselves. It should be fun. Maybe it will be my new favorite language, like everyone say, oh, you should probably learn Rust. It's an amazing language, la 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 la, like, and just do it, for we need you to become a Rust developer. Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's just keep up with this. And as you can see here, this will be our rewrite that we're going to be doing it today. I probably am in front of you guys. Exactly, there we go. Let's continue on with this. This, people, is the project. We have the imprint, which is my improved printing, right? In this scenario, we just have this simple binary where the idea is we have an imprint, which we can do better printing on the standard output. Instead of, needing to remember escape commands, you can just pass a simple tag. In other words, we can just do, whoops, there we go. We can do hello. And this hello that we have now is just a simple standard output hello. But if I did something like bold, now it becomes bold. And if I do something like foreground red, it will become red. And if I do something of the sort of foreground 255 0 255, it becomes pink, right? Pretty self-explanatory, and just not needing to remember the standard way that we always done it. That is, having the escape command and having that format, that huge regex, just so that we can do something like this, right? That is pretty much imprint. And the idea is we're going to rewrite it from C++ to Rust and see how better the code will be. Plus, we'll just make it and just see just how fast this will be, right? People tell me that C++ implementations are faster than Rust. I'm yet to see something like that. We have a pretty, non-existing project. So the first thing we're going to do actually is I'll just take the same structure and try to remake the same structure from a C project, and that in the case is C++ project, into a Rust project, right? So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to make a directory. I'll just make directory source. The source directory is there. We can probably make a build directory as well. So make directory build. And if I'm not mistaken, there's no such thing as importing or including in Rust, so we should probably just make one single big file and just include it as we need it. I do not even know how to include stuff in Rust, so let's just take a look at this, right? So for starters, I should probably make the main file, right? Until we have this one, I'll just touch myself the source file, main.rs. I think that is it. There we go. A single file project. Amazing. There is projects. We have what's the name? I think it was imprint rs. There we go. Source, and we have main.rs. Now, because again, I do not remember anything about this project. I don't remember anything about Rust. So because I do not remember anything about Rust, let's just, make this a little bit more interesting. I'll just try it as I go and just see if it works. For for starters, let me just make this, the LSP will probably be my best ally right now, really, to be fair. Anyway, let's just continue on. We have now the first error came from the project itself not having the cargo file. Why? So we have now failed to discover workspace. Consider adding the cargo.toml in the workspace for linked projects. I mean, is it that necessary? We have a compiler, right? That's all that we need. Let's just continue on with this. There we go. So we can probably remember some things like fn for function I think we had a main. Now the thing is this correct? I don't remember, and to be fair, I will not remember that much. But I think it was we have println, if I'm not mistaken, this was a thing. And we have like hello world. I think this is it. Maybe there is a semicolon. There we go. Let's see how that will go, right? So now if I were to do rust c, and now I need to do source main.rs, can I define an output file? Build. Now the thing is, I don't remember. I think I just call it imprint. Did it work? Look at that. Build. Wow. Wow. There we go. Successfully made the hello world in Rust. There we go. Right. So anyway, again, we're trying to rewrite this thing. This is a rewrite of a C++ project into Rust. So we should probably have the C++ implementations right next to us, right? Wow. Source, we have probably main.cc. There we go. There we go. Now that we have this, again, this is a C++ thing. It's really different in comparison to Rust. So we can probably start with the easiest one, that is, making some helping functions, or maybe better, getting arguments for. I don't even know if Rust can actually, receive arguments. Probably it can, but I do not know. That's why we have documentation, right? And to be fair, let's just take a look at this. Okay, we do have it. Great. Come on. Let's see what this is. Let's create a new project with, as always, cargo new. Okay, reading the argument values. To enable mini-grep to read the value commands, we'll need standard environment arguments. Function provided in Rust standard line. Okay, then we have the STL. This function returns an iterator command, mini-grep, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Interesting, you need to actually just include a STL thing to make it work. And to be fair, it's probably better than just the way that we do it. Having a standard that is always there. Interesting. Let's try it, right? What is DBG? Yoink. Debug arguments, maybe? What does DBG mean? I don't know. Rust C source main.rs. Will that work? Excuse me? That made no sense. Right? That made no sense. Let me try that again. What? Oh, right. That is even more interesting. So the thing is, DBG prints me out the thing as it came there. So if we were to do something like, wow. Hello world, all dumb. Okay, interesting. So, so it takes that and just returns the array. To be fair, pretty dope, right? So we have a let argument. This is probably, I remember something of the sort where let was a immutable variable, right? It's fine, right? So these are variables themselves. I don't need this, right? It's there. To be fair, let me just keep that there for sake of simplicity. Okay, that's cool. Comments are comments. Print the arguments to me. Right. There we go. Now, if I were to redo that, what's compiler, source, main.rs. Interesting, right? Unused variable args, pretty much, right? But it probably works, right? It doesn't do anything as expected, right? So that's pretty cool, right? So let's continue on with this and let's try and rewrite it, right? Let's start by rewriting this right now. So the thing is, we have a vector. This vector is probably an array. This array of data, which are strings, we can probably just manipulate them now. So the thing is, let me just see how I'm going to manipulate them. And to be fair, we have these. These are flags, which in this scenario, they are just the help flag. I'm not going to talk about flags right now. I'll just think about how long these arguments will be. For if they have argument flags, I'll take care of flags later. So the thing is, let me just first rewrite this to just take the argument count and just return help if that is the case. So let's just remember, if this is probably this way, I can probably do args dot length, maybe length, or probably size, maybe length. Meh, I don't know. Time for documentation. It was a vector. Yes, vec. Continuous growable array. It is a structure. Let me see. Size, resize, probably length. Len. Okay, capacity and relocation. The capacity of a vector is an amount of space allocated for any future element that will be added onto the vector. This is not to be confused with the length of a vector, which contains specify. Okay, so we need to find the length of it. Let me just see if we have anything else related to length somewhere. Excuse me? No. No! Did I spell it wrong? I think I did again. No, TH. Length. How do I get the length of this? Is it len? Oh, it's len. Let's see. A len? Okay, let's just think. I assume that is it, right? So if the len of the arguments are different than 2, I'll just say whatever and just return it. Can I return it? I don't even know. So that is the case. Wow. No. Right. Args dot len, if they are different from 2, I can probably just return them. That is the thing. Can I return 0? I don't even know. Like, is function main in Rust an integer return value? I don't know. I think it's not. I think it's a void. Or if it's void, it should probably not return anything. I can just return. Indeed. So let me just try this again and just say whatever. Just do print line. I think that was it. Nope. There we go. I think that is it. Pass. Whatever. Yeah, let's just say this. Argument should. Arguments must be greater than 2. Right, that should be enough. Right. Let's see if that worked. So let's go there. We can probably do Rust C source main.rs. There we go. We have issues. Right, let's just see what we found in there. We have unnecessary parentheses found around if unnecessary. They are unnecessary. Why are you unnecessary? Anyway, let's continue on. We have a warning and use per. Okay, wow. Remove these parentheses. whatever. Field len unstruct vec is private. Oh. That is it. So I need to actually find this. There we go. To be fair, that is on me. Okay. Remove these parentheses. Did it not work? Okay, so it did work. Great. We found the link. Nice. Let's keep on with this. So now we do have the first one, which was important. Get the arguments that we need. Next that we have that, we need to now make the messages, find the message itself. The message now, if we do have more than just, or exactly 2, we know exactly how many that we need. So now we need to find the message. This message will need to be stored as a string as we have it in here, right? So the thing is, for us to have, wow. There we go. It should have probably be Control XL. Really? It did not work. I forgot to add this on my config. That is so unfortunate. Wow. That is on me, people. My bad. Right. So anyway, let's just continue on with this. We need to store this as a string. We have string over there. I should probably just do this. Right. I'll just do this as a message. I'll do the message now. Will need to be the args. And can I do this? Can I? To be fair, let's just do print ln. Again, what is wrong with me? There we go. Message. Will that work? I do not know. I really do not know. Let's go on with this. There we go. GCC. No, there we go. Right. Expected on the... Wow. Operating from message. Really? What did I miss? Don't remember. Let's see. Unnecessary. Okay, let me just remove these. This is starting to get annoying. Okay. Expected one of these. Oh, I remember. We are not using C. We are using a real language, right? So we need to do actually this, right? So let message, and now I need to actually define the value type in here, right? What? Format argument must be a string literal. Really? Excuse me? Can I move out of index of the thing? Right. Move occurs because value have type string, which implement the copy trait. Consider borrowing it. Okay, this is borrowing. What does borrowing mean? Does anyone know what borrowing in programming actually means? I don't know what the what does borrowing mean? Let me just try this again. Okay, now we still have issues. I just borrowed it. Excuse me. Expected due to this, expected string found the reference of a string. Interesting. Consider removing the borrow. So the first problem was that I was borrowing, and now that I borrowed it, it did not work. Okay, now it worked. Let's see how that will go. Okay, interesting. Hello. Right, okay, we do have progress now. Great. Nice. Anyway, let me start by actually making some interesting progressions, right? But the thing is, I want to make something that makes sense to me, and not just to me, right? I want to make something that is easy for me to read, and I want to make it going with the clean code perspective. More specifically, I've read clean code, I think, twice already, and there is one part of clean code that I really enjoy. That is the idea that your code needs to be like a story, right? It makes sense to use store, with the entire application code as the main being on the top section, right? And then you need to read it top down, left to right, like a news article, right? And the thing is, because you're reading it as news, you're considering to find things in a linear progression. There is main. Main calls this. Where is this? This needs to be right next to main. And from that point on, you can just have it be better strategized and just make it better structured, the code itself, so that you can read it better, right? It's not required. You can just make it as you need. Probably going to have much more complex perspectives on this, probably requirements in your project that you're going to need. But to me, right, I find a code that is linear and small projects like these that are, let me just remember how long this code is in C++. Again, this is a 263 lines of code. It's not that many projects that have, that many lines. So you don't need to make it, over-engineered a simple thing. Right? So let's continue on with this. Anyway, this worked. So now let's continue on in here. For, again, I made the issue of trying to make it the same thing in C++. It did not work as expected, but it was a fun experiment, right? You can use clean code experimentation, and you can make it much cleaner than what I did. But the thing is, I tried to make this news article structure in imprint, and it worked, like the code works, but it is not easy to read, right? You start with the help thing in here, generate the message in here, and then main. You don't even know what these do. They are just here for the sake of needing to be here so that the compiler can actually do stuff. In Rust, let me see if I can do this, right? For if I do not have the amount of arguments that I need, I want to do the help command. In other words, fn help. Now, I think Rust requires me to have everything in lowercase on the names of the functions. Help is just help. It's going to be just a simple, easy to read help message, right? But the thing is, this is in here, and for the sake of, again, testing this, println. Again, why am I doing this? Hello, help, right? Excuse me. There we go. Is there a mosquito? No, there's no mosquito. Right. I think that's that. Now, if I were to do this, and I just do help, that should work. And now, Rusty source main. Hello, help. Well, that worked. That worked pretty well, actually, to be fair. Why is this working so well? I did not know why. Again, it's been a while since I've done anything with Rust, and the last time that I've actually touched Rust was actually making the tutorial that I must remember. I failed the tutorial. It was a pathetic experience. But one thing that I actually found really interesting is, but the first time that I actually touched Rust was exiting college. I finished college and I did not touch a single file of Rust code. Once I finished college, then I messed with some Rust, which was a tutorial. I loved the idea of cargo, and then I just abandoned it for no reason. I don't remember why I did it. I think I just lost interest about it. I was trying to, learn some C. Probably was better for me to just keep on working with C++, which I do still find to be my favorite language of all time. That is simply C++. But Rust can probably be the next big thing. I don't know. It's gonna be fun. So the thing is, let me see how easy it is for me to convert C++ code into Rust code. The help function is going to be a really simple one. I can just convert this and just print in here to see how it goes. Right? I'll just do this. Where do you go? You can probably go all the way down to 35 lines. Probably this. Excuse me. There we go. Right, now we can probably see how this will work. Now, there's no such thing as std string. right? Me, right? Let's do let usage be a string. String description, again, let description be a string too. Now the thing is, we have a raw description, a raw string. Is it like this that we do it? If it is, I'll be impressed. I'll be really happy too. Next we have the tables. The tables are just gonna be, again, how to use it. Let tables be a string. There we go. That should be it. Spatial format. Really? Wow. That's cool. Then we have these, this is an array. This array, how do I make an array in Rust? It's gonna be fine. Let me just, actually, to be fair, we have all of these. I'll just rewrite this. So we have first, we have print ln. Again, why do I keep doing this? Then we have the usage. Description. Then we have tables. And from tables, we have the examples, right? The examples are the ones that we have in here as well. And we can probably just make this array as we need it. I did not remember how do I initialize an array. I don't even know if we are taught this in the tutorial, right? It's probably, they probably do this, but I don't remember how we do it. Let's see if the compiler teaches me that, right? That's going to be an interesting question for it. That is, how do I do this garbage? Interesting examples. There we go. Can I do new lines in this? Even better, can I do this? I don't know if that will actually work. If it does work, I'll be impressed. I'll be really happy too. Let's, for the sake of, again, simplicity, I'll not even give me new line buffers. I'll just do this. What I really want to see now is how the hell, how do I make for loops? Arrays, right? Arrays are probably things going to be the same one as we did before. So we do have this, right? Let me copy this and see if it works. If it works, I'll be happy. If it doesn't, I'll be sad, as expected. Right, there we go. Right. Anyway, we have the environments again. Can I do this now? Excuse me? Excuse me. There we go. We are back in business. Right, there we go. Now we can probably do this. There we go. This is pathetic. There we go. Let's see if that works, right? That should probably be enough. There we go. We now have arguments that can actually be printed. Now, how do I make a for loop? I do not know. Let me just see the documentation again, right? For loops. Nope. Loops. There we go. Comparing before. No. Interesting. Time for API again. Great. Loop. Keyword loop. Loop indefinitely. Excuse me? There is a loop word? Loop is used to define the simplest kind of loop supported in Rust. It runs the code inside it until the code uses break on the programming exits. Okay. Interesting. That is kind of an interesting perspective, I've never seen that before. And in C++, even though we do have, infinite loops, it's an interesting way to just, make it integrated into the language, a while true, which we call loop. Again, really interesting. I've never seen that before, but really cool. Again, not gonna lie, pretty cool. And it's the last thing There's nothing more. Right. There was this 4 and there's a y. Okay, there we go. 4. Okay, that's pretty cool. The for loop, it's exactly this one. Iterated repeat for x in. Okay, for loop variable in iterator. Okay, fine. So we can probably do something like, let me just rewrite this. We have 4. Now we have x in that case, we have the loop variable, in that case, example. For example, in, wow, examples, 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 here we go. Is it like this? No, we're not writing in Python. Again, a toy. No, we're not writing a toy. We're writing a real tool, an improved tool. Actually, to be more fair, we're making the improved printing, and we're now improving on the improved printing for writing it in Rust, Joe. Come on, we are the best. Let's go. Rewriting in Rust is the next win. There we go. Let's continue on with this. Now, does println support escape codes? That will be my next GOAT attempt to see if I am the GigaChat programmer that I say I am. Oh God, no. Let's continue on with this. Println. Again, why? I don't know. I'm making so many mistakes in here that is impossible. Example, can this work? Right? I don't know. And to be fair, I don't really care. Let's see if that'll work. Now that we have that in there, we're not returning anything, which is fine. For I do not need to return a help command, right? Let's see how that'll go. Again, Rust C source main. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, let's see what we have in here. To be fair, I don't want to keep returning every time to the terminal. Compile command. There we go. Compile command. Compile command, we can just do Rust C. And now we can probably do main.rs. Okay, we can actually see everything now. Right, expected blah, 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 else or an operator found, description, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. So the thing is, we can probably make this a little bit better by not using the R thing in there. The first issue that we have is right here. Let's remove it. Right. I think we don't need it. I really think that we do not need it. This. Do I need it? I don't think so. Do I need this thing? I don't think I need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. And I don't need this. See how that'll go. Again, why are you using this thing? I don't need it. So many. I'm gonna die. Okay, let's just see this exactly what is happening right now. We have the imprint message expected. I will probably say that the only issue started to come right after a message. Right. I don't think that's how you're supposed to use the vecting, right? Let's just try and just see this then. Exactly where we have vec. Right, we can probably initialize a vector somewhere. Initialize. No, where do I initialize the vector? No. Let's try array. Wow, I'm really down. Wow, bro. Come on. There we go. Array. We have standard array. Array. It is a primitive type. We can clone it. How do I initialize it? Interesting. very interesting. So I can initialize an array, which is again pretty cool, right? So let's just see this. How do I do it? More interesting, we need to do this. Where we have it, we can probably do something of this sort. Let me have you in here, right? But the thing is, instead of having I32 and having 3 values, we're gonna have a string, and we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 values. 4. Can this work? I don't know. Do I care? Of course I do. And these are separate by semicolons? I really don't care anymore. At this point, we're probably just talking to some crazy people. You know, crazy people. Excuse me? Wow, look at this. This is insane, people. Can this work? Can this work? Please work. No, it did not work. So sad. I wonder if this will actually work. For the thing is, we have an issue where I really wanted to use a raw string. How do I make raw strings in Rust? I don't think I'm going to find this in here, actually, to be fair. So we do raw string in Rust. How do I do raw strings in Rust? Right, let me just see this. No, what the hell is this, bro? Come on. Be reasonable. Be reasonable. What we have in here, this is not reasonable. This is not a reasonable thing to see. But again, fine. Okay, this is fine. This is perfectly fine. Right. There we go. We can probably do this then. So we can do something of the sort where we have this guy like whoops, like so, and this guy like so. That work? I think it can. There we go. And there we go. There we go. Wow, there we go. And there we go. Okay, I think that should work, right? We're converting a raw string in C to this, which is again perfectly acceptable. And I totally forgot the lit. Okay, that should be okay. That should be perfectly fine, right? Now the thing is, we need to pass it as a borrow checked again. Like the thing, I totally forgot. Just do it already. For exit the wow. I totally spilled examples. No. Okay, there we go. Now that should be enough for the examples to show up. And this is probably wrong. Compile again. No, what is wrong here? Again, we can probably make this easier for me than to just, not having the table in here yet. So I think that now, for an example, let me just actually take a look at this. For now, we have this issue of format argument must be a string literal. Okay, fine. But the thing is, if it must be a string literal, we need to do something like this for all of them. Nope. Excuse me. There we go. Oh, right. What? Help try using a conversion method Really? What? That makes no sense. Expected string found a reference to a string. Wow, bro, that is weird. How many strings are there? Dot to str? Can that work? If that works, I'm gonna be impressed. I think it did. I think it did. You know, not bad at all. Not bad at all. The tables are probably the same thing. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. Look at that. That should work. Great. There we go. Unnecessary trailing semicolon word. Oh, okay, fine. There we go. Again, pretty much the same thing. There we go. There we go. All right. Next, we have an issue in here. What was the issue? Imprint help try using a conversion method called to string. Why? Again, pretty much the same thing. There we go. And for some reason, I did all of them wrong. There we go. There we go. Right. I think that is fine. Right? That should be enough. No! What do you mean? Where? What? What? Excuse me? What? Expected? An operator? What do you mean you're expecting an operator? I'm doing exactly the same thing. Okay, come on. If this is the thing, I'm gonna be so pissed. Actually, I'm not gonna be pissed. This is fine. What am I saying? Great! We have successfully compiled it. Great. Now the compile will do this and then main. Great. Look at that. We have indeed exactly what we need. Plus, it looks great. Right? We have colored output. What? That makes no sense to me. Why do you have colored output? Excuse me? What? Oh, right. Right. Move source main. Main. Excuse me? To main. Override main? Yes. Right? So now, we're going to do main. There we go. Okay, so we do not have colored output. Emacs, you're amazing. Thank you. Anyway, right. Fine. I'm so happy, right? I'm happy, right? Anyway, let's just continue on with this. So if that works, we can probably assume some more interesting stuff. For an example, the usage, we print the usage plus a new line. Can this work? It does. Great, right? As expected. I can see why people are enjoying this language now. Will I convert to, you know, a Rust developer? Probably not. But again, pretty cool. Not gonna lie, pretty cool. Now, it will be an amazing experience if, you know, they have regex. If there is regex support for Rust out of the box, it's gonna be an amazing thing. It's gonna be so much easier for me to convert this. But hey, I'm starting to enjoy this. Again, it is lit. I'm not having problems with the borrow checker. If we have any issues, it's been with me. Again, these are, I guess they are references. I don't even know what these are, right? These are probably just references to the examples. If I were to change this, will this work? Right? If I were to do this, It didn't work, right? I don't even need. Yeah, it did not make any difference. Why didn't it make any difference? Why did that do that? Let me just see what I printed out in here, right? You can also iterate over references. Okay, so it is a reference. Fine. Great. You can reference to this. This is a loop print 0, 1, and 2. And this references to it. Fine. Again, pretty close to what it was. Assertions out of the box, that's pretty cool as well. Assertions are, you know. Anyway, let's keep on with this. Assertions in Rust by default. Pretty dope. Okay. That's fine. To be fair, I'll just keep it there as, you know, good practice. And I'll probably say too as, you know, an interesting perspective of stuff. A more interesting thing is that the description came in everything all together, which is fine. Did I make that exactly the same way in the C version? No, I don't want this. No, I don't want you either. No, 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 no. I'm stuck. No. Right. No. Yeah. Okay, doesn't really matter. Where was I? There we go. No, really? Wow. No. No. Why? I failed again. No. I'm stuck again. Yeah, that is annoying. It happens. There we go. Reopening Emacs. Projects. We have imprint RS. Main. No, I opened the wrong file. Source main.rs. There we go. To be fair, let me just kill the things as well. Directory. I'll just delete you. Excuse me. There we go. Damn it. Where am I? Okay, we have this one. There we go. Right. We're back. So the main thing and the help command is fine. We have it where we need it to be. And now the thing is, we need now to process this message, right? Again, let me just do this. Imprint source, and there is me, right? Pretty much. Anyway, we have it there. It's fine. It works. What we need to do now is to make this work, we need to find the generate message command. And if that is not working, or better yet, if there is no help command or help message in there, we should then convert the message back. The thing is, this is probably going to be fine. We have the message, and the message is going to be printed back. How am I going to process this message? It's going to be an interesting perspective, right? It's going to be an interesting paradigm. For the thing is, I don't know if we have support for just manipulating stuff as we have in C or C++ in Rust. So let's just see how it goes, right? Let's just make it whatever. Let's just make it a, game developer perspective in Rust. Anyhow, first of all, let's see if they do support basic print line with escape commands, right? If I were to do something of the sort, right? Now I need to compile it again, right? So Rust C, whatever, source, main, again, main in here, examples, there we go. So now we have main, let me just do hello, new line. And now if I do this, it doesn't print me delete line. That is kind of annoying. But again, it's fine. It's not supposed to do that anyway. So let me just see how that will go if I were to use actual escape commands. But the thing is, the actual escape command that I know, I don't remember. Great. Now I need to use my old library. There we go. Escape.h. Let's see where we have it. Right. So the thing is, we have the escape, which we are using hexadecimal. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I want to do a new line. So a new line is probably just the new line, right? We have new line, hexadecimal. Hexadecimal is this one. So we can probably do something of the sort. Wow. Excuse me. Here we go. Again, new line. It's this one, hexadecimal X O A. Now, that's gonna be an interesting one. Print line doesn't support escape codes. How will I do that? Can print? Is there such a thing as a print? I don't know. There's probably a print. Let's see how that would go. There is a print, which is fine. Okay. You know, kind of cool, but it doesn't work. Okay, fine. It's probably here. Okay, there we go. Right, so it did not work. Fine. We'll find a new solution. So I need to find an alternative to C out in Rust. So C out in Rust. No, I don't want to do this. I want to just find an alternative. I don't want to have the C out of C++ in Rust, right? Why is it so difficult to get user input in Rust? Is there Rust equivalent? Oh, C++. Rust FFI. FFI works fine until you try to use standard C out, standard vector, and all that. Right. So the thing is, Rust print to standard. What? Right. There is a macro. There is a print in standard. Right. Standard output a lock. There's a write command. Right. Prints the standard output. Really? Equivalent to the what? Macros find a new line to the new printed end of the message. Note that standard out is frequently line buffer by default, so it may be necessary to use IO standard output plus to ensure the output is emitted immediately. The print macro will lock the standard output to each call. If you call print within a hot loop, the behavior may not be bottlenecked to the loop. To avoid this, lock standard output with IO standard output lock. Interesting. Use print only of the for the primary output of the program. Use eprint instead to print error and program message. Okay, that's fine. Panics. Panic written in IO standard output fails. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Rust escape command. Right. Escape string. Okay, that's cool. Really? This grid also handles special escape sequences like new line, which represents a new line. Okay, that makes sense. Interestingly enough, it worked there, but it did not work there. Kind of interesting. The message itself cannot be transformed, but the code itself can. Let's try that. Right. But the thing is, we are just doing this. If I were to do this, right? How will that go? We have this issue again, which is a string literal. That is not working. Format arguments must be a string literal. You might be missing a string literal to format this. If I were to do this, no. Am I missing a string literal to format this? I mean, like, we're gonna have the same issue again, but it's not supposed to be like this. Like, I don't want to print exactly what it is. I want to print it to the standard output, and I will just do some code magic to just do it, right? To just use the escape codes. How does it work? Right, for in C++, it just worked. The standard output would just print to the standard output, and the escape codes of the terminal will just work. And here, they work only and only if you print them literally. Right, so in other words, this new line escape code I had to hand print in the message. And this is even wrong, right? Why format tags like that? Why do you have this? Useless. 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 Useless, too. There we go. Pretty useless, too. Pretty useless. Not kind of. It is useless. I don't need this twice. There we go. There we go. Batch pistons, right? But the thing is, it did work, but now when I'm printing the escape code, it will not work. Right, so if I were to do this and just do whatever, it will actually print the message. Let me just try this the old-fashioned way, right? So we have the escape command, so I'll just do this. I'll do the escape command, which in this scenario is going to be 033. It doesn't really matter which one it is. Now we have the escape command. Then we can do whatever we want. Let's just start with the easiest one, which is 007. And we can just do now hello world. It did not work, right? It did not process the escape code. It just printed whatever it is. This is interesting, for it did work, but let's just see how it would do if I were to pass this in a new way, right? If I were to do this as the escape command, 033, right, which is exactly the one that I did, and I'll do the same thing again, but 007. Let's try it again. Okay, that did not work. That's cool and bad at the same time. Let's see what we have of an issue here. This creates also handle specified escape sequences like this one, right? Create escape string. Efficiently split the line with white space while handling the backslash escape sequences in a Rust-like string format. 1, 2, 3, 4. Naive splitting on white space would produce 4 outputs. This crate will instead produce 2 strings. I don't think this is exactly the one that I'm looking for, right? Rust escape codes for bold letters. NC term. Rust. Okay, that's interesting. So we have a term, really? These are crates, right? NC term. We have NC string, style, and color. A style holds stylistic information, foreground and background color. Why complicate this? Man, why? Wow, that is stupid. No, not actually stupid, right? To be fair, it's not stupid. It's really interesting, but at the same time, why, bro? I get it, right? I can probably use this as well, but man, when would you have time to think of this? I really do not know how to use this language. But again, pretty cool. But yet, I'm starting to see why people are enjoying this language. They have everything. They pretty much have everything. They had the thing that I was going to make because I did not have escape sequences in C. An easy library of escape sequences. I did not find anyone. Maybe I was just, pathetic, or just I did not find anyone because I was, looking in the wrong places. But really, come on. We should probably have something in GitHub or GitLab that I did not find. And probably there is, but I did not find anyone. Anyway, let's see, what am I doing wrong here? I really don't know. And because I'm starting to get a little bit tired already, I should probably take a look at this later in the future. But for the sake of simplicity now, it's probably work. And let me just see one more thing. I should probably see some regex right now. Really? Wow. Okay, there is. There it is a crate, right? We have use regex. Let me see if this will actually work for anything. I'll just, I'll just copy this, whatever, and let's see how that would go. If I were to do this, will this work? Will this actually return me something useful? I'll not even print the message. And I'll compile it in here. Excuse me. No. Why do you think that? .rs. No, consider importing the regex extern crate ready. Really? I need to now actually use this thing. No. Right, so let me just do that. Right, so we need to do that now. Now I need an extern crate regex. How do I do that? Let me see how that will go. So the thing is, it's telling me to do, consider importing the regex crate, extern crate regex. Extern. Maybe I need to do something. How do I import this? Crates. Rust crates. Crates, not yeah. So how do I work with crates? Install cargo. Right, there's probably a crate for this. Regex. Regex, lazy regex, supply chain trust crate. Supply simple regex, simple and readable way to writing regular expressions. I think this one is probably the one that most people are actually using for anything. We'll just use regex, right? How do I even use this? Usage. Regex internal as a library. Regex automata. Okay, so I can probably see why people are actually using cargo now. Right, cargo, I did not want to use cargo, or I did not see a reason for me to actually have a project generated thing, but again, it is the package manager of the thing. It's probably best for us to use it anyway, so right, as my first experimentation with this language, I think I'm going to stop it in here right now. It's probably long enough. So what we learned, right, what we learned. Rust is an interesting language. It's working, it's being fine, and to be fair, it's not as bad as I expected it to be. For I was expecting it to be a bloodbath, you know. I was expecting to be destroyed with this language, but it's not that bad. Again, I just made a help message. I'll see in the future how the hell this will actually do anything, but for the sake of time and for the sake of me being so tired, I think we're just gonna land it in here, and the next video I'll just probably keep up and do something better and probably bring back a solution to these escape commands that I did not make it work. But hey, it's fine. It is a rewrite. It is a rewrite of a project that already works, and to be fair, Rust is starting to look better now. Like the first time that I made this and the first time that I tried to make, you know, anything in Rust, it just did not make any sense to me. Like, what the hell is the borrow checker? What are these weird syntax rules that you have in here? Like, you're trying to be Python for some reason. Why do I need to have this back? Like, I did not have to do this in C++ anymore. C had this. For it was C. It is an old language with an old syntax, an old perspective in technology. Why do we need to go back? Right, this makes no sense to me. Or maybe I'm just, you know, being a little bit weird. I don't know, and to be fair, it's fine. It doesn't matter. What happened? Hey. Fine, it's there. It doesn't matter, so remember guys, keep coding, and I'll see you guys in our next video working on our Rust imprint rewrite. Bye. Boop.